This is already the third longest government shutdown in U.S. history, and one congressman I spoke with tells me there's no end in sight. Democrats and Republicans in Congress pointing fingers at one another for the government shutdown.
It's a really frustrating process.
The Democrat shutdown.
The shutdown is nearing its fourth week now, leaving 900,000 federal workers without pay or laid off. The U.S. House passed a spending bill to keep the government open, but that legislation has failed to pass in the Senate 10 times now. Congressman Adam Smith tells me House Speaker Mike Johnson is trying to force Senate Democrats to agree with the Republican spending bill.
And if they have the votes for that, well, okay, then I guess that's democracy. I don't like it, but they can vote for it. But now they're telling Democrats that we have to vote for Trump's budget and Trump's government.
Smith tells me Democrats are fighting for priorities to keep energy costs low and Medicaid for hundreds of thousands of Americans, but says Republicans refuse to negotiate. Meanwhile, Speaker Johnson says the spending bill would only be temporary as lawmakers work to hash out the details later on. He says Democrats hold the power to end the shutdown.
They can make this stop immediately if they will just do the simple and right thing. Pass our simple 24-page bill that just merely says status quo, keep the lights on.
What's your message to those federal workers who are kind of getting the short end of the stick as the fight goes on for these issues?
Well, I can tell you what the federal workers' message has been to me. Don't back down.
When I asked Smith last week if there is an end in sight for this government shutdown, he said no end in sight, but a clear way this ends. And that's when Speaker Johnson agrees to negotiate with Democrats in the Senate. Senators are scheduled to be back in session on Monday. Natalie Fahmy, KOMO News.
Food bank collecting donations for federal workers affected by the government shutdown. Harry Reid International began collecting donations at its pantry on Thursday and plans to open Monday morning to distribute essential items for those workers in need. That includes everything from food to toiletries, baby products, and pet food. For now, TSA agents and air traffic controllers at the airport are still on the job, but they are working without paychecks. A spokesperson for the Clark County Department of Aviation said operations at Harry Reid are also running smoothly.
We decided to do a donation drive, a food and essentials pantry for our federal employees. We began yesterday, and it's going to go through Sunday for collections. And then Monday, the 20th, we're going to be opening it up for our federal employees to come get the essentials that they need. So non-perishable food items, we're accepting gift cards for retail, for gas, for grocery stores, baby supplies, all the things that they need to help get them by during this government shutdown. I mean, there's things like pet care. A lot of people have pets, you know, we got to take care of them as well. Baby formula, diapers, wipes, toiletries, you know, like toilet paper, paper towels, soap, dish soap, and then food items as well.
They also noted that during the last major shutdown, which lasted 35 days, a similar effort was made to support the workers. And the
workers feel the squeeze from the government shutdown. The state of Maryland is working to make their lives a little easier. Our Leanna Golden tells us what Governor Wes Moore is doing to make their morning commute less of a headache.
For some commuters in Maryland, it was jaw-dropping news.
So I think that's very good.
Grace Wright, shocked and relieved to hear that the Maryland Transit Administration will now offer free MARC trains and commuter bus service to federal workers, those who still have their jobs.
And I think for federal workers, that's great for them. Like, I'm really happy to hear that. I didn't know that, so that's very exciting.
Governor Wes Moore made the announcement at a job fair on Friday, hoping to ease the financial burden on those impacted by the ongoing shutdown.
Free service to and from the district started over the weekend and will continue as long as the shutdown does. All you have to do is show your federal ID badge to the train operator and you're good to go.
They don't have to worry about getting to their job.
So let's look at the numbers in Maryland, where the federal government is the state's largest employer. At the start of the year, 269,000 Maryland residents were federal employees, with more than 160,000 federal civilian jobs located in the state. Since early 2025, Maryland has lost more than 15,000 federal jobs, the largest number in the nation.
Everyone's just on high alert. Like, there's so much friction going on, and you can tell.
Amid the friction, commuters hope their federal neighbors rely on the services being offered to them and have one less thing to worry about.
I hope they take advantage of it because public transportation just needs to get better.
I hope it ends soon, that everything goes back to normal.
I'm Liana Golden, 7 News.
The government shutdown starting to be felt far away from Washington.
I'm not sleeping at night. It's really, really hard. And I have a 15-year-old boy at home, and I don't know if you know anything about teenage boys, but they eat a lot.
Furloughed federal workers in Kansas City raising their concerns, also laid out in this video released by the White House.
We urge Congress to reopen the government. Every day this doesn't happen, it punishes us.
We all have rent due, car payments, mortgages, and overall need to provide for our families.
Not knowing when my next paycheck is coming has had us talk about possibly canceling my son's upcoming birthday party.
While we are once again seeing TSA workers not getting paid, American farmers losing access to vital information and loans meant to help keep them afloat, and millions of Americans at risk of losing their SNAP benefits, President Trump did redirect $300 million in tariff revenue to some food assistance, also shielding federal law enforcement and military members from missing paychecks. President Trump insisting it's Democrats' fault and they should therefore be punished.
They didn't realize that that gives me the right to cut programs that Republicans never wanted, giveaways, welfare programs, etc. And we're doing that, and we're cutting them permanently.
If we shake hands with President Trump on a deal, we don't want him then next week just firing thousands more people, canceling economic development projects, canceling public health funds.
Public health at the center of the argument from Democrats who say they need more agreement on a plan to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies set to expire at the end of the year. As Republicans say, open the government first.
What I want to vote is to open the government, which I have done a number of times, but we're not going to extend a program that is wrought with fraud, waste, and abuse. I think there can be reforms to these credits, but ultimately we're going to need a total overhaul.
Despite many similar previous votes, the Senate is set once again to vote this evening on whether to end the shutdown and reopen the government. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
As the government shutdown drags on, we need to talk about the lasting effects.
Right. It's more than just missed paychecks and closures. The real impacts may not be so obvious. Melanie Hastings is here with some of the shutdown's hidden effects and what that could mean for your money.
That's right, guys. So we all see the obvious things. The national parks are closed, federal buildings are closed, and federal workers are not getting their paychecks. But what I found out is that the lasting effects of the government shutdown run a lot deeper than that.
The real pain comes afterwards when furloughed employees lose morale.
UVA's Darden Business School professor Chris Herpford told me while federal workers return to their jobs after a shutdown, almost immediately, many start looking for work outside of the government.
They will explicitly say, hey, I'm fed up. I'm going to look for better jobs elsewhere.
This brain drain of highly skilled workers costs all of us.
It's both young, highly qualified, high potentials and older leaders with a lot of experience. And the result is that the government works less well, affecting all of us.
Herpford says for every employee that leaves, the government spends 250% as much money as they save to rehire from the outside. And that shock to morale is as big as a 10% drop in wages.
It's like a bipartisan issue. Like no matter what your view is of the federal government, if you like it or if you want it to shrink, shutdowns are not the right way to shrink the government. The cost is enormous. It's hidden.
Now, several bills have been introduced in both the House and the Senate to prevent government shutdowns from happening, though none has been enacted into law just yet. But what is encouraging, guys, these are bipartisan bills. So everybody is agreeing government shutdowns have to end.
Yeah,
so maybe in the future.
We're going to see some cracks in the system here as this thing drags on even longer. All right, thanks, Mel.